Hi everybody. So I don't know if you know, but a few weeks ago, a very well-known rabbi and psychotherapist passed away. His name was Rabbi Dr. Abraham Twersky, and in light of his death, I wanted to learn more about him. The truth is, I wish I'd have done this while he was still alive. And I purchased a couple of his books. One of them is called Life's Too Short. Pull the plug on self-defeating behavior and turn on the power of self-esteem. That's the subtitle of the book. And his basic thesis, having seen so many patients over decades and decades and decades, is that he thinks the root of a lot of psychological issues, not all of them, but a lot of them, whether it's relationships we have with other people or with ourselves and our own internal state of mind, the root of a lot of these issues comes down to self-esteem, or a lack of self-esteem, lack of self-worth. And there's a beautiful story he shares near the beginning of the book, where he says that he came across, he had a client that he learned was a very serious drug addict, and it was a woman, and she sold literally everything in order to get hold of drugs. But she did have a bracelet on her arm, which her mother gave her, which was so precious to her that she refused to sell that. She would not sell that under any circumstances. And Rabbi Twersky said, "Can I have a look at this bracelet?" She gave it to him. He looked at it and he started he got a needle out and he looked like he was about to start poking it. She said, "What are you doing? Don't harm it." And I'll just quote to you what he says. He said, why don't you want me to do that? And she says, "I don't want it to get all scratched up. It's beautiful and it's valuable to me." And he looked at her and he says, "You mean that when something has beauty and value, you don't allow it to be marred and ruined?" Then taking her hands and showing her the bruises, I said, "Do you see what this says? These self-inflicted wounds are a loud statement that says, I am not beautiful. I have no value." It's such a beautiful, beautiful message, because he's basically saying that so much of what we do, driving ourselves crazy with anxiety, worry, jealousy, obsession with sensitivity to every single thing someone says, is because of a lack of a healthy sense of self, that we are totally lovable. We all have a value and purpose in this world. We all have a unique value that God placed within us, that only we can fulfill in this world, a rectification for this world that only we can do. And if you have that, then it means that when troubles come your way in life, you believe they have meaning and purpose, and you can rise to the occasion. You have a worth and a value. You don't become depressed and feel like you're a nothing and a nobody and just gonna go by without any help or attention. Or when it comes to other relationships with other people, it means that, when you eventually, please God, you do find relationships that are really wonderful and beautiful. You engage in a healthy way. You're not too sensitive to the point where literally every possible thing they say and do, you analyze and overanalyze, because you're so dependent. You basically tie your self-esteem to what the other person says about you and every single thing they do. But if you have that healthy sense of self-esteem from within yourself, and you understand yourself, your self-worth, then it means that you can engage far more healthily in relationships, when it's much more about giving. You don't have to overanalyze everything, because your self-esteem isn't dependent on what the other person does. It doesn't mean you can't be immune to what they do or not hurt to what someone else does, but you can do it it can be more balanced, and you can and sometimes even know when to get out of relationships. There's a great story that Rabbi Twersky shares of he spoke to a woman who had an abusive husband. And she said to him, he just tells me I'm a bad mother, and I just feel so terrible, and he said to her, you know that scar you have on your left cheek, I really find it very, very ugly. She said, what are you talking about? I don't have a scar on my left cheek. He said, no, yeah, it's really ugly. She's like, started laughing, like, what are you talking about? This is ridiculous. I don't have any. He said, see, if you know that a criticism or something I say to you isn't true, and it's a statement about you, you're not bothered by it, because you know it's not true. Or at least you might be bothered by it because you feel like you're not treating me with respect, but you don't believe that the statement itself is true. And so too the same is if you have healthy self-esteem and people dig at you, make digs at you, or they're rude to you or hurtful to you. If you have a healthy sense of self-esteem, it can help you massively anchor you through challenges, trials and tribulations, whether it's things that you're dealing with yourself or whether it's relationships that you're navigating with other human beings. I think it's a great book. I'm about halfway through. I recommend you guys check it out. It's called Life's Too Short by Rabbi Dr. Abraham Twersky. Check it out. I think we'll do some more content on this and discuss this in more detail as I learn more about it.